Good morning. This is Miss Maggie T with Lush Exchange. And if you're new to the channel, I want you to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss another post from me. But I want to get into a little something that is a problem in most relationships, and that is communication. And really listening to your mate. It's always a big problem, and communication is the key to happiness in a relationship. And I'm going to leave you with a quote. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. And that happens a lot, often, and sometimes that leads to arguments because you're not really listening to what that person is saying. All you listen to is something that you want to react to and get mad about. You're listening for the wrong things. You're picking and choosing what you want to hear, and I call that selective hearing. We have to do better as a person. If you want that person to listen to you, you sometimes got to sit back and listen to them. Maybe they're telling you something. You never know. So just quick little things that can kind of get you guys better with communication. Just some helpful tips on how to be a good listener for your mate. Open your heart to your spouse, and nurturing theirs requires listening well. With so many different issues, obligations, devices, and people pulling at us from every direction, it can be difficult to slow down and truly listen to one another. Listening can be pleasant, but sometimes it's downright hard. Sometimes you might want to tune out and lose yourself in your favorite pastime instead, or dive into the to-do list of items you still need to cross out before the day is over. But to have a healthy, thriving relationships, it's critical to truly listen to your spouse with empathy and generosity. I will be sharing some ways that, will help you with that. Let's start it out. Listen with empathy. When you practice empathy, you're putting yourself in your spouse's shoes and seeing things through their eyes. Whether you're trying to resolve a conflict or just simply listening to your mate talk about their day, it's beneficial to the both of you to listen with empathy when your mate speaks to you. For you, it gives you a window into their world and their perspective. For your mate, knowing that you're listening from an empathetic vantage point helps them feel secure. And it keeps the communication flowing. And it's less tension and anger because you guys are just having a great conversation. Maybe your spouse needs to vent about work, and normally you tune out when they start talking about their day or their challenging projects. And that causes people to kind of get a little bit more upset. It's like, you're not even paying attention to me. Instead of switching your mind off while they talk, try to see the events of the day through your eyes and through theirs, and in the context of your life. Have you been dealing with problems at home, like financial issues, trouble with the kids, or taking care of an ailing parent? When your whole life is complex like that and you have so much going on, you have to be a bit more compassionate to wanting to listen to your mate and talk to your mate, because you guys got to get all those stresses out. And understanding that you're not the only one that's going through it. Your spouse is. and they're dealing with a lot. So it's like it's levels when it's things going on in the home. You go into work with it. It's stressing. And they felt comfortable and confident enough to confide in you. And you're just kind of push office and just, I'm busy, I'm watching this and I'm doing that. Or this conversation I'm having on the phone is more important. Put that phone down. Speak to your mate. That's what we do. We tune them out. And you wonder why they're tripping and acting a fool. Or they're going to other people to confide in. That's when the problem starts happening. When you're looking for other people to listen because you feel like your mate is not. Listen for emotion. When your mate needs to talk to you about something, especially if it's something hard, it's easy to get wrapped up and carried away by your own emotions on the topic. In that case, you might respond to your mate in a totally inappropriate way in your attempt to alleviate the difficult emotions that come up for you. Yeah, you get a little passionate sometimes, and you might take a little offense to it, but instead, take a minute to listen for what your mate might be feeling. This type of intentional listen goes hand in hand with empathy. Once you've identified what your spouse is feeling, whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, anxiety, or excitement, you can adjust your responses based on their emotional state. It gives you an extra chance to check yourself before you say or do something that might make the problem worse, especially when they're in an emotional state. When our emotions go into a tailspin, it can be difficult to keep communication healthy. That's when all the arguments start. So just sit back, breathe if you have to, and just listen before responding. Listen without being biased. You've both got your opinions, and it's hard to let those opinions go in favor of simply listening to one another. Listening without being biased is helpful when you have opposite stances on certain issues or when you're locked in a stalemate during a fight. Set your opinions aside for long enough to hear what your spouse is saying, then practice your empathy skills to try to understand why. It doesn't mean you have to change your opinion to match your mate's. What it does mean is that your spouse deserves to be heard. And you can't truly hear if you're filtering everything that they say through your own bias. Listen lovingly. When you're communicating with your spouse, it can be helpful to use loving gestures and body language to let them know you care about what they have to say. It can be as simple as holding eye contact and nodding to affirm what they're telling you. You could also reach out to touch them or hold hands. Turn your whole body towards them, or even stop what you're doing and just sit with them if that's what they need. That's it. They just need your companionship at that moment. While you may be able to go about your business and have a conversation at the same time, and that can be okay sometimes, there are going to be times when you just need to put everything down and focus all your attention on your person. Turn off the TV, put down your phone or other devices, forget the to-do list for a little while, and give your spouse loving affirmation through eye contact and touch. Listen generously. Your spouse needs to give of your time and attention. It's hard to take time out of our busy lives to generously give our energy to listening when we have so much to do every day. But communicating openly is key to a healthy relationship. When you listen generously, your mate will feel secure in coming to you with their concerns, hopes, and fears. And how well do you listen to your spouse? Is your spouse a good listener? What have you done to strengthen your listening skills over the years? I would like to hear from you about that. If you guys are having great conversations. But like I said, communication is a huge, huge, huge issue in a lot of relationships, and it can break a relationship. If both parties are not willing to sit down, even if you're going through some things, some stuff that happened in that relationship, and y'all need to work it out, and you're not even taking the time out to listen to either one of each other. All you're doing is want to be mad and angry all the time. There's a reason why you're both angry. It's because you have something that you truly feel that may have hurt you, but you're so busy trying to victim blame and, make it all about your feelings. What did you think about the other person's feelings as well? It starts there. Something went wrong somewhere. What was it? Maybe listen. You might learn something that you possibly missed. Maybe you stopped giving that person a compliment. Y'all just so bitter all the time now. You forgot to love on your mate. Or the kids, now you got kids brought into this, the honeymoon stage is over with. You guys are dealing with a lot, and then life gets ahead of you and it gets so hectic and busy. You got different schedules, but have you guys sat down and put a time, even if it's just a 15-minute window, and just truly distracted yourself, and took away the distractions of life, and really just looked into each other's eyes, found a quick little movie to watch, anything. You have to remember, what you did to get into that relationship is what you have to do to keep it. You gave all your attention when you was trying to get with that person. And then when you finally got them, you ignored it at this point. You have to do better. You have to do better. And that's pretty much what happened in my own marriage. Communication was just not there. And whenever we tried to come together, it was just a lot of passion and anger. And a lot of finger pointing and all of those things. And we tried to talk it out, but I think the pain was just, I think we just couldn't figure out how to communicate with one another. And over time, it just went down to some communication to zero. And it happens. But you gave it a try, though. So, I tried counseling and things like that. Tried to hear it out. The other person tried to hear me out. And we felt like we couldn't. And it happens. It happens. So not all the time this advice is going to work for some. It may not. If the one person is not willing to listen, or the other person feels like you're not listening. But that's all I got to say on that note, people. But let me know how you feel about this. Have you found ways to communicate? Are you having some trouble with that? I hope this helps you just a little bit. But until the next time, this was Miss Maggie T with Lush Exchange. Make sure you guys share this content, drop a comment, and hit that notification bell. All right? And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 500. And I'm out, people. Peace.